It's time for the Chips and Salsa Show.
The only show about Latinos for Latinos. And did we mention Latinos?
It's the Latísima.
Latinos come in all flavors, shapes, and sizes. You don't have to be Latino to enjoy chips and salsa.
People love chips and salsa.
What the hell is up, everybody? Thank you so much for tuning in to the Chips and Salsa Show. New freaking Mexico. Things are going crazy. As everybody knows, we're just dealt with the Trump assassination, and we are very honored to be here at Organ Mountain Studios. And I'm here hanging out with always amazing Alice freaking Lotta.
Here we are. Get ready, man. Rock and roll today.
Yeah, get rock and roll, get ready to go. You know, we're going to open up the show with some topics that Alice has for us, and we're just going to roll with the punches today, guys. There's so much going on. There's so much to talk about, and I'm curious to see what Alice wants to talk about, because that's just how I am.
Well, first of all, we have to open. It's been just a historical last few days, okay? It really has been. But I think we kind of have to open and start local in a way.
Okay.
Because last Thursday, as you know, we had Bill Bierman was here.
I know, right.
Along with Julia Reese, and we were getting ready to have the Trump vigil, right? Because we wanted to pray for President Trump. And we had it downtown. It went very well. We had a heckler and everything, this guy, you know. And so that's good. To me, that's a badge of honor. Because if that means they're worried. If they have to send, and the man was very nice, except that he was a heckler. He had his four German Shepherds, I think, with him. But it went pretty well. It really did. But then, ironically, this weekend, a terrible thing happened. And thank God, what did Newt say? It was providential. President Trump survived. He survived the shooting. It was amazing.
Do you think he faked it?
Boy, that's, if he faked it, man.
That's crazy. A lot of people think that. A lot of people legitimately think he faked it.
But yeah, I had someone I was telling you before the show. The friend said, I think Trump just set it up himself. Yeah, I think right, sure.
And Cypher had a good point earlier. The machete, I didn't know that was part of the plot, that he faked his own assassination to win the election. Now, that is a good ploy. I just don't think with the blood in the ear and stuff, I don't think that's possible. I don't know.
Well, and then someone did die. We had a casualty, and a couple of other people were injured as well.
There was so many funny things going on. People, like women giving signals in the audience. You see that one? She was signaling it. She wasn't even fazed by the shot.
Is that the one that was, that bothered me. They keep showing the video over and over again.
Right.
Everybody goes down, boom, and then she just stays
She's chilling.
Recording with her phone.
Chilling. They didn't even flinch. No.
And I want to mention, I was actually, the last Trump rally this was in Goodyear, Arizona, so it's right outside of Phoenix, where the airport is, and it was for a Trump rally, and I'm sitting like where the audience was, so right behind, we had VIP seats. It was very cool, extremely cool. But what I want to explain to people, because it looks like when you look at the video, you've probably been to one of those functions, but it looks like the people are just like right behind him. Well, that's not the case. There's quite a good amount of space between you, right? Exactly, because the service is in between.
Then there's a gap, and then something else, and then there's their audience.
Exactly.
It's a good gap.
Right. So I'm thinking when the bullet grazed his ear, and then other bullets followed, and the gentleman that was killed, bless his heart, rest in peace.
No.
It was. There's so much that went on. We have so many questions and so much to talk about. But it was very real for me, and I'm thinking, okay, if I were there and that had happened, and immediately people went down, and I would not have come up until someone said it was okay. I would have stayed as low to the ground as possible.
Get the hell out of there! I'm surprised people hung around.
You got the military experience,
right?
Yeah,
cover and concealment, baby. What are you doing?
It was incredible to watch. So I would keep watching the video, and then you notice all those things. They had the emergency doctor that I guess helped. Now, the gentleman did he help the one that actually died? Do you know? The emergency doctor?
I don't know. I know the guy who died was a doctor, though, right? I think he was a doctor.
He was a firefighter.
Firefighter? Right? Oh, I thought he was a doctor.
Like a chief or something.
Fact check my ass. There you go.
Yeah, but there was a lot of details.
Yeah.
A lot of details that happened. It was so real. I'm still a little bit freaked out about it. I really am. Have you watched any of the RNC?
I didn't get to see any of the RNC. I've been busy catching up with all kinds of other behind the scenes news. Real quick though, I'm going to go back to the event, the vigil. I thought, the balls of Mr. Bierman. I got to give a shout out to Mr. Bierman to have a Trump event in downtown Las Cruces. I mean, that guy has bigger balls than anyone I've ever freaking met. So big shout out to Mr. Bierman for doing it in the first place. Somewhat of a low turnout, but I think the spirit of it was great. And now if we do anything Trump downtown, people are going to be showing up. So it's a good little warm up. And then secondly, I didn't show up because I got super sick, guys, straight up. Like, shout out to ivermectin, because holy crap, I was out for the freaking count, and they couldn't figure it out. I negative on all the tests. I was tore up, and they couldn't figure out what the hell was wrong with me, and I was bedridden for like a good 5 days. So that's why I wasn't here. But yeah, stay up on your health, guys, because I had never been attacked with anything that's that bad. And it's been years. So and I'm a marathoner, you know what I mean?
That was last week, so it's been about a week.
And
Are you up to
I'm fired
snuff
now. I'm great now. I did my 6-mile run yesterday. I'll do another one here today. I feel great, but
and that's frightening because this is one of the healthiest people I know. I mean, you keep up with your
I'm
health.
a health nut, and I got hit hard. So I don't know what's going on out there. Apparently, a lot of people were dealing with it. But okay, I just want to say that. Shout out to Big Mr. Bierman. Bone up on your ivermectin usage. That stuff saved my freaking life. I mean, I would have probably still been sick if I had not gotten a hold of some.
Was it hard to get to the ivermectin?
It was hard to get. I had a friend who had a friend, and they hooked it up with the 12 milligram dose. I've been dealing with the 3 and 6 milligram doses in the past. I got to jump into the 12 milligram dose this time. Man, it was badass. It's crazy when you take it. You can I can always hear better. It clears up your sinuses so quick. Like my ears, like right now, I can hear fantastic. And I didn't realize how that virus might have been in my body for a while, and it might have been accumulating. But I feel incredible now. I'm taking it therapeutically now just to make sure everything's gone. A full 10-day dosage. And that's just what's up. Just trying to throw it out there, guys. Ivermectin is it's a miracle drug. It's freaking awesome. It's relatively inexpensive. Hydroxychloroquine is just as badass. Get yourself some, because who knows what the hell's going on these days.
So you're detoxified. And while you're on that topic, I want to interject that on Thursday, we always like to promote CCIA, Coalition of Conservatives in Action, but this Thursday they're meeting at 6 p.m. at the Kitchen Craft by Rudy's Barbecue. It's about preppers.
So
it's kind of the same line.
We know you conservative folk like that preparation. I know I do.
Even if you're not, maybe you're not that much into that topic, it would still be good to attend. Because just think about it right now. It's been very hot here in Las Cruces. Electricity goes out.
Oh,
You
yeah.
gotta be prepared for stuff.
Gnarly power outage a couple of weeks ago. Gnarly power outage.
Yeah, it was in our neighborhood.
Never experienced a power outage like that in my life. It goes on and off for like 3 or 4 hours. There's a whole bunch of crazy stuff going on. So talk about crazy stuff. Let's go back to the Trump thing.
And
everything.
Thank you for shouting out to Bill Bierman, because he really did do a good job.
Love that guy.
He spearheaded the event, and also all the steering committee that did that. There was a lot of work.
Yeah,
and
David Clements.
I just think that it was so ironic. It came and then that happened. Everything happens for a reason. It's just kind of strange. So keep praying for President Trump, please do.
Yeah, prayers. I've been praying a lot lately, actually. But so for me, the Trump thing, it's like, how do you not check the freaking roofs, guys? Like, we all know since we were kids, the Secret Service should be on every freaking roof running around there. They had freaking overweight women, short women in there who was hiding behind. Was that a real meme? That chick that was hiding behind Trump, was that real?
Real.
That's real?
That to me almost was like fake, where she was literally hiding behind the person she should be trying to protect. Now,
the director, right?
Well, one of the women that was Secret Service was hiding behind him in like one of those photos. I've been seeing it everywhere, and I was like, that's not.
They said that she's the director for the Secret Service.
Well, Kim Cheadle is supposed to be in front of Congress. I don't know if that's happened yet. But, Bongino, who's like, if I was still producing for an old radio station, that'd be the first person I call, because she needs to answer to a lot of questions.
And I'm not knocking women. I mean, but like for Secret Service stuff, Special Forces stuff, you want a 6'6" dude in there that's jacked, that's been out in combat, that knows how to handle stress, and I don't understand why the DEI is relevant for that. I just don't think.
And Trump's a big guy. How tall? He's 6 foot at least.
I think he's a pretty tall dude. I think he's like 6'2", 6'3", 6'4", maybe even, because Barron Trump is huge. You see that guy? That guy's like a Viking.
He's taller
He's
than
like
his dad.
6'6". He's huge. But yeah, I just don't think it's appropriate to have women in Secret Service. I just don't think that they have the physicality.
And and as I watched that too, because going back to when I went to the Trump rally, I saw maybe at other events you'd see 1 or 2 women, in the crowd. But this seemed to have a lot more women.
A little bit more, right? And I didn't mind
really
a few Beckys and Rondas in there at all. That's not a big deal. But like you said, this time was different. Not only there weren't normal Beckys and Rondas, well, you could tell like this chick she aced her gym class. She's straight. These girls were like, how did you even? You know what I mean? It was like that SWAT team they did in Chile, the all-female SWAT team. They couldn't even do the freaking monkey bars, And they trained their ass off for that test, and they still couldn't do it. And it's nothing against women. It's just like you guys weren't evolved to have the upper body strength that men do. It is what it is.
Well, and if I had a Secret Service team protecting me, I'd want everybody to be in their pretty top physical condition, like someone like you who's in good shape, can run and just get up to that podium as quick and fast. I'm sorry, but I don't think that's too much to ask.
No.
So someone else, I was just hearing, it was a Secret Service, I don't know if it was X or whatever, but he knew what he was talking about. And they have just relaxed the standards. They started doing this a long time ago.
I know.
A perfect example
The
was
military.
even within the fire department in Phoenix, I remember. And if I say too much information, you'll figure out. So people that watch me from Arizona will figure out who it is. But this person happened to be a female in pretty good physical condition, but told me that they have a test and you've got to hold that big hose right. So you should be strong enough to hold it with some legs.
No.
And she basically admitted and said that they help you because they need to fill their quota. And I'm sorry, but that's not right. I mean, this is you're talking about safety and saving lives.
The lowering of the standards is a big deal. Once you start lowering standards on anything, I think you're just going to get a bad outcome. Like recently, they got rid of the logical reasoning part of the LSAT for you law school people, which was the hardest part of the law school acceptance test. That usually weeded out everybody. Like if you couldn't play logic, you couldn't go to law school. Now that's gone. So pretty much anybody can, go to law school now, which I don't think that's going to be good overall. You want people who are smart in there.
Well, it's sad, and I don't know, maybe you're much younger than I am, but before we could attend college, you had to take, I think I took the ACTs or something like that. Do they still require that?
I don't
Seems like
think
anybody
so.
can
Do
go.
they?
Do they?
It's probably lower standard.
They do still?
I think
Okay,
it's like
well,
a
that's good to
17
know.
for ACT. I think NMSU was like a 17, which is like, bro, you got to show up at least.
It's pretty low. I mean, you used to have to get, it's decent grades.
But the military's lower their standard. Everywhere you start seeing standard, where I remember seeing it the most when I was playing Little League baseball, and it was like super. Las Cruces is a big baseball town. If you guys are from, you guys know it's a big freaking baseball town. When we were in Little League, they started getting rid of keeping the score, and we were like, what? How do you play baseball with no freaking
that
score,
long
dude?
ago, they were redoing
They
that.
were starting that mid-90s. They started getting rid of those standards, and they started lowering them, and then, I don't know. I just don't agree with it.
No,
Just
I don't
high
think
standards
it's
for
good.
ourselves. Go ahead.
It's not good for the kids or anything. But speaking of lower standards that the left likes to do, we do need to let the audience know that you are going to be on.
Yeah.
Remember, we just had, a couple of weeks ago, we had Mr. Goodman on?
Yep.
So if you follow us, which follow us on Rumble and YouTube, we had Peter Goodman on, who hosts a show on KTAL, which is supposed to be like ¿Qué tal? And you're going to be on there. Tell the audience when.
Yeah, it's 101.5 tomorrow at 9:30 a.m.
So that would be Wednesday.
And they are a political radio show, a progressive political radio show. We had Mr. Goodman on recently. I think it was a good talk. I mean, we obviously didn't agree on a lot, but we did agree. Me and him do agree on a lot of stuff. And I don't know what it is. I think it's just the common sense side of him, I guess, And I was a hyper-progressive for a long time when I was in college. I was a big-time Bernie supporter, so I get it. And I talk about this all the time. I get it. The global conglomerates and all the billionaires are running the world. And we don't want that. We don't want that. We the people want more power. So I can see where they're coming from. And I think they've gotten away from that message. But overall, what we want to do is just talk about how we can work together, guys. I mean, the first thing that I wanted to do with the Trump thing is say that, we're not into violence. That we've never been people that are into violence at all. We want to use the Constitution. We want to use the law. We want to peacefully come to the table and figure out solutions. Never have we ever been like, oh, I hope they take out Biden. You know what I mean? It's like, it's never been, it's never been thought. It's never been thought. It's like, I want him to lose genuinely, because I know he could. I think there's enough common sense people awake in this country to actually vote for Trump without any violence, So that's what we hope to achieve tomorrow, is just talk about how we can come to the table, no matter what side of the aisle you're on, and help the community. Unfortunately, Alice couldn't make it. Otherwise, she was invited to come too, but she couldn't make it.
I don't know if I was invited. I think you were.
Well, he invited you. He
Oh, he did?
Yeah, I talked to him yesterday.
Oh, okay.
He wanted
All
you to come on.
I mean, it's all good. Please give my regards to him. And I will say, we had Juan was on with us, Juan Garcia from CCIA.
Right.
And everybody was civil. And that's how it's always been. You've been able to at least have a conversation. And he admitted, he's kind of an old hippie. And that's cool because, like I said, hippies used to have integrity back in my day.
Yeah, they were anti-Vietnam War. They were all civil liberties. Anti-racism. I can see why you would want to be a Democrat from that period for a long time, right? But it's changed a lot since then. I just don't think. I think a lot of these people are being exploited. They're using those old school, high value, virtues that came out of that time period, and they're leveraging that for today, but it's just not that same party anymore.
You're right. They're being exploited because I don't know if you remember the Sierra Club or if they're still in existence, but that was all about saving the environment. Now, who's not for that?
Right.
it's too bad, but you're going to have a great time. So I think once you record it, you could always go back. So if you miss it, you can go back and go to their station online, and you can listen to the interview.
Yeah.
So it's up about an hour. You're gonna
I'll
be
check
on?
all the roofs before I go in there. I'll make sure everything's cool.
Get your security team.
And I check every roof now. I was out for my run yesterday. I was checking roofs, baby. I wasn't messing around.
But everybody should kind of still be on high alert.
For real, we should be on high alert.
All the time. And
For
even
real.
in this little community that we live in, we always talk about the cruises crime, but it's not a bad idea. Always kind of know your surroundings, and especially your woman alone. I refuse to be a prisoner in my home. I'm not going to just stay home all the time. But there's a lot of things you can do to keep yourself as safe as you can.
I honestly do feel a little bit of danger because I am known as probably like one of the biggest Trump supporters in the state, especially for being a Hispanic guy. And for all I know, some crazy cockamamie don't know who I am, doesn't know who I truly love the community, and I'm really trying to, solve things across the aisle peacefully. They don't know, they just know that I'm a Trump guy, and they could come after me. I think about that, and I really do.
Okay, so you bring a question to mind. So the elections that we've had, in Phoenix, when I lived in Phoenix, people were afraid to put the Trump bumper stickers or wear the MAGA hats and stuff. Is this going to have an impact on that?
Yeah, I mean, you could see why people were afraid to support Trump in the first place. I mean, this is the first time I felt it, because you see him get shot at, and you ask people who don't like Trump why they don't like Trump. It's usually because they've been misled about something.
They don't like his style.
Even that, it gets deeper than that. Where they're like,
Yeah.
the biggest thing is the Epstein thing. Everybody thinks that Trump was, and we talked about this the other day.
We did.
Everybody thinks that Trump was in on it with Epstein. He went with Lolita Express. They hung out all the time. But it's like, no, Trump kicked out Epstein from Mar-a-Lago as soon as he found out that Epstein was hitting on some 13-year-old girl, one of the club members' 13-year-old daughter. And then he never flew on Lolita Express because they almost tried to assassinate Trump in the 80s. And the plane he was supposed to get on blew up, and everybody on that plane died. So he vowed to never fly on another plane outside of his own plane since the 80s. And that came from his number one confidant, Roger Stone. So
40 years ago? Wow.
they've been trying to kill that dude for a minute. And never committed a felony until he ran for president, So it's like...
So do you think it's going to be stronger? People be more unafraid to wear their paraphernalia, or be more afraid now?
People are going to be more afraid to wear paraphernalia, I think, because, look at X right now. If you look at people are viciously trying to go after Trump now. People are we want to talk about haters a little bit, man.
Yeah.
People were pissed that he didn't get shot.
I know. I can't believe the gall. We talked about this before the show, to come out and say, oh, who was Jack Black you were telling me? Joey was telling me.
Yeah, Jack Black.
And Jack Black got up and
see that?
said,
No.
And he said...
What did he say?
So Jack Black endorsed Biden, right? And he went on, I don't know, I guess he had a concert or something.
Yeah, some show. I remember, yeah.
And he made a remark on there, said that next time they shouldn't miss. They canceled his tour the next day. They were
Well deserved.
outraged, and people are canceling him, and that for him to have that platform to say that,
I can't imagine to have the hate in your heart to wish
that's messed up.
assassination
Well,
on
it's
somebody.
inhumane.
Yeah, it's inhumane.
The reach that he has, and to have that judgment, because even if you really feel that way, aren't you mature enough to at least give it some time and wait a little bit? Right off the bat. I'm glad he did it, though, because when people do stuff like that, it tells me who they are.
You know where
exactly.
they're at.
So bring it, man.
I think a lot of people should be hung for treason. Don't get me wrong, or shot with a firing squad, but I want them to go through that legally. I want them to be tried publicly. I want them to go through through the law, the legal system, and then fair, a fair trial like every American gets, and then they get hung. and then they get. That's just the way it goes. But I don't ever think someone should just shoot that dude in the head because he's gonna win. I don't get that mentality.
Well, one of the first things that when this all happened, said there was a 20-year-old guy, and I thought, 20 years old? Was he in the military to do that? And and your thoughts, because you were in the military, they didn't even use a drone, okay? They could have had a drone up there, so many things. I'm not the security person, but even I could see, and then all the little stories that are coming out, and the people are saying, yeah, we were warning them 3 minutes ahead, and there's videos. Everybody has cameras now. They had their phones out.
Well, people just didn't understand that there's people who own this country. They're the globalists. They are the Council of Foreign Relations, the Bilderberg Group. These are the BlackRock. These are the people who have trillions upon trillions of dollars, and they have other agendas besides American freedom. And that's really what it boils down. Those are the same people that took out Kennedy, and it was the same scenario: Secret Service, CIA, and it was the detail of the president that took him out. It's the same thing with Trump. It was the Secret Service and arguably the CIA because they work in tandem, and they worked in they took him. They tried to take him out.
And let's say that wasn't even the case. If that wasn't the case, then what horribly, horribly run organizations they are to have that non-security. If that wasn't the case, I think we're going to get banned by YouTube again, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, we're not the only
Badge
ones.
of honor.
We're not the only ones
Badge of
talking
honor.
about this right now.
Fight.
We got to ban everybody, because I think this is going through everybody's mind.
Oh, sure.
So
Absolutely.
I'm surprised that they didn't try to take out Trump sooner, personally, because he's just some dude that he's trying to look out for America's best interest, and to do that, we got to turn the power back on. We were leading energy exporter when Trump was in office.
That's right.
Leading energy exporter. That is power, literal power. Like every space alien movie you've ever watched talks about getting the power from the planet Earth. It's like that's really what it boils down to, guys. Is energy, and that's trillions upon trillions of dollars. And Trump is trying to refocus that energy back here to America. America first, baby. And what better thing? Why wouldn't they want to take him out? Why wouldn't they?
And for all we know, they may have before, but we just haven't caught it. Or,
for sure.
And we've talked about it before.
Yeah.
A big target. They have now given RFK Jr.
Finally.
Secret Service
Thank God.
protection. Look what it took. Isn't that embarrassing? I mean, if whatever you think, maybe you're out there and you really still support Biden, you think he's a wonderful person, but that doesn't speak well of the administration. I'm sorry.
Yeah, people need to wake up. I mean, I've for New Mexico politics, I've been to the top. I've talked to the top guys in politics, and it's loose, guys. It's loose. There ain't nobody driving, guys. There's nobody steering the ship. We're out here on our own. We the people's like a thing. That's real, because the people on top ain't there for us. And even if they are there, they're not in control. There's nobody there. So we have to start looking out for ourselves. We have to be real about what we're up against right now. And until we start doing that, and then God, we can't even talk about God yet. That bullet, I mean,
Providential.
half an inch. His brains have been splattered like JFK's were. His freaking hysterical wife trying to jump out the damn car. How horrible was that whole situation?
Did you hear, and you probably did, but where the convention is in Milwaukee, there was a reporter and said that not too far away, like 10 or 12 blocks away from that site, is where Teddy Roosevelt had been shot. Remember, he survived an assassination attempt also. And Teddy Roosevelt was a bad too, just like Trump is now.
Well, yeah.
It's very comparable, what they happen. These guys, it's, just like Jesse Romero. Jesse Romero says that Trump is a broken pencil that God is using. I love that line. Whatever you think about Trump, you have to wonder.
Everybody's so freaking Disney-fied. Like, everybody has this, Disney projection or, idea of the world that everything's, all nice and fluffy and loving, and, they have no clue about how evil this world really is. And they don't also know the true love and power of God. And so that's what we got going on right now. Everybody's projecting their Disney goodness onto the world, but it's like, bro, these people are horribly, horribly evil out there. And they'll stop at nothing to fulfill their agenda. And killing Trump on freaking international live TV. Imagine seeing that dude's brain splattered on international TV at a MAGA rally. What the hell would that have done?
You bring up an interesting thing that I don't know if I've thought of this or not, but just the fact too, because whenever the Trump rallies are on, I may not watch everyone, but sometimes I just record them, or you can always see them. They're on YouTube, and somebody, not all the stations, but somebody is covering that. So to plan that out and know, not only are people with their phones going to do that, but somewhere it's going to be. Ironically, what happened to me is that day I would record it, and I had been listening to something else, so I had it on pause. So I left to go to Mass and heard it on the radio when that happened, and immediately called my husband. You got to go check the video. And then my phone started blowing up. So I went into Mass and I prayed. I prayed hard, and I've ran into some people. They go, do you know Martha Beasley and Jim Beasley?
Yeah.
I don't know if you've heard of them. And yeah, that's right, you do know them. And they happened to be at that Mass, and I told them what had happened. But everything, there's nothing private anymore. Even if you think it's private, it's going to be out there.
It's out there.
So that took a lot of stones. It really did. I'd like to know, no matter what really happened, will we ever know? What do you think?
Probably not. They got a good, grip on everything. They're very controlled. I mean, they had this freaking Secret Service in on it. That tells you everything right there. But the larger point I wanted to make real quick too, I think this is important, is that it's not just about Trump, guys. And I'll talk about the power and the energy. Yeah, they want that. They want control over the American resources, so they have their own global agenda, and they got to get rid of Trump. They got to get rid of Elon Musk. They got to get rid of Alex Jones. They got to get rid of Joe Rogan. They got to get rid of all the MAGA supporters, myself included. I'm sure I'm on some kind of freaking list by now, and they do have plans to do that. It's declassified information. Because they've had unlimited amount of spending, guys. Look at how much tax dollars we've given the government that they just printed, trillions upon trillions of dollars, and you wonder, what are they doing with that money? Well, they've got drones ready to go with nerve gas. They've got drones ready to go with opioids that are just going to knock populations out. And that's what they plan to do. They plan on releasing nerve gas in every capital of every state in this country. They want to take out every Republican leader, okay? And they want to bring in martial law so they can have the Chinese, who's already over here. And
when you say they, who are you referring to?
Council of Foreign Relations, the Bilderberg Group, all these secret societies. These are the people who have been running things for a very long time. It's old money. And basically the same people, the old school bankers, the old school global bankers, that's just who the founding fathers were fighting. It's the same freaking people. Just because they lost the war in 1776 doesn't mean they were gone. They had all that money still, and they had kids, and their kids had kids, and here they are back again. And they've been infiltrating every country with Marxism all these centuries, and now they finally got here to America. We're an occupied country right now.
Well, and to me, what that makes me think of is our open border. And
that's what they want.
10 plus million people. I think it's 20 million
30
people. For all we know. And they keep coming in. There's still no stopping on that. And we're only July. We have 6 more months, basically, of this presidency.
Look at the inflation. They want a permanent underclass that they can control and they can monitor all day, every day, so they can extract resources from you or get rid of you if they need to. And that's just what they've been very open about this, guys. And it took them to almost blow Trump's head off for us to get to a point where we're talking about it. But people just don't understand how evil things are, and they don't understand that, like, behind the government is a bigger, much more ominous evil force that's been on this planet for a long time, that we've been fighting as humans for freedom for a long time. I mean, just look at how powerful the Declaration of Independence is. Look how powerful 1776 was. They had to fight like crazy just to have the freedom to freaking come into a whole new country and do their own thing and practice their own religion, not get taxed. And we're back at it with that same, and we're the most free country in the world. Look at these other countries in South America. Look at all these other countries. You want to go hang out in China for a while? I don't. I have no desire to go to freaking China, dude. I have no desire to go to any of these Marxist countries. I love this country. I love it.
And we have to keep fighting. Just as Trump was, being let off the stage, for him to, hey, I want to get my shoes, and then he goes, fight.
Yeah, keep fighting. That's what he said.
Forever, and then he's got blood on his face. I mean, it's forever embedded into our history. It's wild and blows my mind. I wanted to ask you about the RNC convention.
I hadn't seen it.
If you watched it. I watched it, and by the way, so I started watching, I was telling Haley and Joey, I started watching it on Newsmax or the different channels, and I kind of was getting irritated with the people that were talking, the anchors, because I wanted to see who was on stage and who was talking, and they'd fire away. So finally, I turned to the old C-SPAN, right, which I hadn't watched in a long time, and at least that was totally unfiltered. They had some very good speakers, including, as you were saying, like one lady got up and is talking about, they're naturalized citizens. They know because they've lived in countries already. You and I have friends, we know that. Even Julia, last week, Julia is a naturalized citizen.
Yep.
And these open borders and everything that's happening, it's a big slap in the face. We've been saying it, this show, the Chips and Salsa show that started in Arizona for 10 years, we've been saying it all that time. Because originally it was to bust the myth that just because you're Latino, that doesn't mean that you're a Democrat and to the left. The culture is not. The culture is very conservative. So it was very powerful, and then Trump comes out at the end. Did you watch that part of the video?
I saw that part where they introduced him as a future president, and one thing I did notice from some of the clips I did see was that the Secret Service, those guys are jacked. Those guys are like, those were no DEI guys. Those guys are big time. So it was nice to see.
You didn't see any chunky ladies out there?
No chunky ladies. This was big dogs. He was surrounded by big dogs. That was refreshing to see.
He didn't speak, but he sat there, and you could see his demeanor changes.
Oh, yeah.
Very serious. And even watching his son, too. I mean, how can you not be
emotional,
affected by it?
Yeah.
and it was very powerful. Our own Kim Skaggs is there. She's a former Republican
Damn,
chairman
must be intense to
of
be
the
there
county.
right now.
She's been sending us texts for our women's club and stuff. She's having a good time. But she's going to be on the show at the end of the month, and I'm sure she'll have a lot of
Could pick her brain
experience
on that.
to share with us about that.
Badass.
But you can just tell it was the energy and excitement that I've experienced from Trump rallies, because people are just they're so you're with people who think like you, which of course is much easier to do. But the joy and the spirit was there. You could even see that on TV. And just, so if you get a chance, I'd watch it tonight. I think he's gonna talk tonight, I think. I can't remember.
I wouldn't let that guy come out of he shouldn't be seeing the light of day. I don't know how you guys feel about that, but I just keep that guy locked up, dude.
You probably can't. He probably didn't want to.
I don't think he wants
but
to.
He looked good. He looked really good. He had the big Band-Aid on it. They spoke with, it was a mother and her young kid who was maybe, I don't know, he was 10 years old. And he was really cute, and he says, well, I just thought I was going to come sit here and be bored. And even he was excited to be there. So this is going to be probably the best Republican convention that has ever happened because of the history. And of course, with that, we got to talk about the vice president nomination.
I know nothing about that guy. Know nothing about him.
Wow.
J.D. Vance?
Yeah, J.D. Vance.
I don't know anything about, other than I had a lunch meeting with somebody pretty high level right now that knew a lot about him, and I guess he was an anti-Trumper back in 2016.
Originally, yes.
Yeah, which I mean, at that time, it was kind of cool to be that. If you were in certain political positions, you had to hold that position. So I'm open to that.
I think that can be used. It might have even been a little bit of the reason that he was chosen for that. Now, he is the author of Hillbilly Elegy. Am I saying that right? And my boss, quite a few years ago told me, Alice, you got to read that book. You got to read the book. It was a movie, Academy Awards, I guess I don't know if it won Academy Awards, but he has a life that can be identified, growing up, very rough growing up. But the fact that he was an anti-Trumper, I think can actually help, because he's been in the mind and can understand those emotions and feelings. And for him to be, I haven't heard his story of everything and why he came, but I think he's a good pick. And he's your age, Zeke.
Yeah,
well, how do you feel about that?
I feel like I'm freaking slacking right now. I need to get on it. That's what I feel like. And I will be running for office again here in the near future. So
good.
Hopefully I'll be hanging out with Mr. Vance in the near future.
Because one of the things that I thought is, the boomers like me are like, well, that guy's going to be that. He's so young. He doesn't have enough experience. But I think that works in his favor.
That pisses me off. I'll get to that. Go ahead, finish.
Well, and I agree. And a real quick example, I was, I think it was Rudy's Barbecue. I was talking to somebody there, and this young man, it had just happened.
Shout out to Rudy's.
Yeah, that's right. And it had just happened. I was saying, hey, did you hear about the assassination attempt? And he was a very nice young man, and he was talking about, there's just, two old guys. And I'm thinking, that was before the announcement of J.D. Vance. So I think, Trump is very strategic, and I think it was a good pick. The more you find out about J.D. Vance, I think you're going to really like him.
I think I will too. The reality is, guys, the founding fathers were like in their early 20s. I think the oldest guy was like Thomas Jefferson. Or no, the oldest guy was Thomas Paine, and he was like 38, 39. And then Thomas Jefferson.
I think you're right.
And Thomas Jefferson was like 32, 33. He was one of the other OGs. All the rest of them were in their freaking early 20s. So it's like to say that I'm young, I'm too young. It's like, bro, you're too old. Like, the young people should be the ones taking over right now. And that's what we're seeing. We saw with Vivek, and we're seeing that with JD. And I wish more people my age would get involved. And I don't mean to take anything away from you guys. And you're not one of them. You always embrace our disparage or the disparity in our age.
I love the fact.
I'd love it too.
That a millennial and a boomer.
That she actually respects me in that way. I think that's awesome. There needs to be more of that, is what I'm trying to say.
Well, he's military like you. He was a Marine. He is a Marine. You forever remain a Marine, right?
Yeah.
And I was reading, and they have 3 kids. He's married. His woman, I think, is of Indian.
She's Indian, right?
Right?
Yeah, I saw
Indian.
that. Yeah.
And one of their kids is named Vivek.
Oh,
yeah,
that's awesome.
I was reading. Isn't that interesting?
That's badass.
But I really wanted your opinion because, he's got the military background. He's a great speaker.
Yeah.
Here's what I envision. When he's up there, I really think Trump chose Pence, and I still think that was a good choice at that time because he needed someone to temper him down. So I think Pence was a good choice for that time. Now, anymore, it wouldn't be.
Nasty.
But that's why I really wanted to ask you, because he's so close. He's going to be 40, I think, soon,
Yeah.
right?
I think it's
Are
great.
you 39?
I'm 38. I'm about to be
Yeah.
39 in about a month.
So yeah, you guys are just about a year apart.
Hitting
Yeah.
40, jeez. It's all good. It's all good. I've had a very fruitful life. I don't have any regrets. But real quick, shout out to Flavors of the Damn Desert. Flavors of the Desert, amazing magazine. I was looking through it right now. It's a badass magazine. They do such a good job. Beautiful colors, awesome companies in here. You guys got to get your ads in though, because time is running out. For the September issue, their ads need to be in by August 15th. So you got about a month to get the ads in. And everybody in here is a badass. So if you want to be a badass too, you need to be hitting up Flavors of the Desert. Get inside this damn
And
magazine.
the advertising
Support
is
'em.
very affordable.
It's very
You guys are
affordable.
showing us the
Very
rates.
affordable. I don't want to talk about numbers on camera.
No, that's their business.
But it is
We
very
saw
affordable.
them.
And they're cool people. They're very reasonable. Got great graphic design, great colors. They got Buffalo Bud Farming. Shout out to Anthony. Santa Fe Restaurant. I mean, look, these guys are giving you guys exposure, and it's hard to get that these days. So give them a shout out. All the love to Oregon Mountain Studios. All the love to Flavors of the Desert. All right, guys? Little plug there.
And look at the bonus. Chef Joey's Recipes.
Chef Joey's Recipes. I didn't know. I forgot he was a chef. We're going to have to showcase some of your stuff here one of these days.
Yeah. Do you have a cooking show yet? No.
Maybe you can make us some salsa. Some chips and salsa.
Joey's Goodies, right on.
But yeah, as far as JD is concerned, I think that's great. I don't know much about him. I didn't know anything about him. The ironic thing is the person I was talking to knew a lot about him. Like,
And they liked him?
Been following him
Thought
for
he was a good
loved
choice?
him. She was like, oh, I can't believe that. That's an amazing choice, and like head over heels with that choice. And I'm like, I don't know who the hell it is. And then I was like, well, I thought Tulsi Gabbard would be a pretty good choice for vice president because she's a girl and she was a Democrat. And she's like, who's Tulsi Gabbard? And I'm like,
That's fascinating. You know, and some of my friends are like, I really thought that he would choose a minority. And I'm thinking, you know, this is why J.D. Vance is a very good pick, because his story will identify with minorities, with young people, with the working class. And he's such a good speaker, and I think he's got really good energy. You know how sometimes you can just see somebody and you feel good about them?
yeah.
I'm hoping that he does a lot of touring. And here's the thing, too. If there is a debate between him and your girlfriend Kamala, that's going to be awesome. He's going to just
That's a tough one.
boom.
Who do I pick on a date? Kamala or Michelle Lujan Grisham? Neither. But if I had to,
If you had to, yeah.
yeah, that's a tough freaking
You become
choice.
gay? Is that what happens? No.
I'd probably go with Kamala because she's a little more hood. I can get with that.
She's
I
attractive.
like girls who are gangster. I like gangster girls. So maybe that'd probably make for a
mean,
more
they're both-
entertaining evening.
Attractive women.
I have nothing in common with MLG. I'm not into Satanism, so
I'm glad you mentioned MLG because I did write down that MLG is going to have a special session, right?
oh, she's been pissing everybody out. The Democrats
even
turned
the
on
Democrats
her.
are
They turned
mad.
on her recently. They turned on her big time, and she's pissed.
And this is about what's the special session?
It's about the
safety?
violence, safety. Yeah, I mean, they're just going all kinds of cockamamie roundabout ways to address all the vagrants that are going around and what is it called, the cognitive. Basically, if you're even coherent and they can keep you in jail, it's just all cockamamie. None of it makes any sense. It's the worst things to do as far as keeping people who are vandalizing the neighborhood in jail, people who are harming people, keeping them in jail. They're not trying to help at all, and the Democrat legislator is not having it at all either.
Now, how does, because I'm still relatively new to New Mexico.
Competency.
Once they're in the special session, I mean, that takes away, right now it's campaign time. Hot and heavy. Do those last long? Have they said how long they want to make it last or anything? Do you know?
Well, that's why they all revolted against MLG apparently, because they didn't want to get too into anything, because what they can more easily say is that what they did is they revolted against MLG because everyone knows she sucks. So they're like, look what we did. We revolted against
So
her.
they can use that
So
as
they can
their
use it.
campaign.
Yeah, because they're up for election right now. She's not. She's over there just doing crazy stuff willy-nilly when these guys got a freaking election to win.
And this is her last term, right? You can
This is
only
her
get
last,
2 terms.
2 terms.
So she doesn't care. She'll be in there.
Yeah, she's in there either way. But the Democrats in New Mexico in the legislature have been hyper turning on MLG lately. They have been going very conservative as of late, and that's really cool to see. And we are polling plus 2 points for Trump right now, and that was last week. Now it's probably more
Wow.
than that.
Yeah,
You
I'd like
know,
to see what it
see
is
what the new
now.
polls are. I mean,
So what are your predictions? Can the legislature, New Mexico legislature, say, you know what, never mind, Governor, or is it?
yeah, they
totally
kind
up
of
to
already
her?
did, to my understanding. They already told her to bugger off.
But can they fail to meet, or is she an
On
authority?
procedure, they can get to fail to meet on procedure.
Wow, and they will do that.
That's what they're trying to do right now.
they are trying.
I think there's people heading up there this week to help foster that.
Is anybody backing her? staying on her side?
No, there's a lot of people. I know someone specifically on our side that's going up there to lobby to have them on procedure. Just throw it out. Just get rid of the special session in totality, because they don't want to mess with it, to mess with their elections. The conservatives know that it's all going to be a bunch of hogwash anyway, and it's a waste of time and money. But MLG is like adamant about doing something. I don't even know what she really does. A lot of nothing is what goes on with her.
Although, every time that I learn more about it, it seems like the governor of New Mexico really has a lot of power. It calls a lot of the agenda. That needs to change. And that's why we got to make a plug for our Republican candidates. We've got some good legislative candidates.
Dave Tofstad, we got to get him in there. It's a tough race against Steinborn, 36. But we got to fight somewhere. We got to keep fighting, like Trump says. We got to keep fighting. We got, who else we got? Samantha Barncastle. She's running for Senate. She's got a really good chance of winning. She's brilliant too. I just hung out with her a few times recently, and she's a different type of Republican. Me and her don't agree on a lot of things, but at the end of the day, she's very coherent. She's very knowledgeable. She's very experienced.
She's a water attorney, right?
She's a water rights attorney, and she's just the overall badass. I really hope she wins. And we just need more people to run, guys. And I'm helping Michael Caine. We got Michael Caine running for district attorney. Shout out to Michael Caine.
Doña Ana County.
We got to get him in there, and with that win, we want to start helping other candidates in the future too. And I'll be running for office again too. But I love this state. I love this country, and it's crazy that we get labeled as Trumpers, and they want to impart violence on us. And it's like, look, man, I just love this country. Like, I grew up in a great childhood, playing sports in the neighborhood. The bases were cans, crushed cans. I did the whole thing. I love this country, and I don't want to hurt nobody. I just want to be free, man.
Well, it starts at the local level and the culture also. I mean, we're very blessed. Las Cruces still is a very good community. We have a lot of good people that live here, and you had a good childhood. I did too, bringing up. And I think most of America, really, in the heart of it, they still think that way. When you start talking to people that are trying to raise families, they want what's good for their family, and I'm talking about both sides too. Sometimes we just disagree on how to achieve that, but it's so important. The local level we always talk about, and the schools, be active in your schools, and that's, I support President Trump because he understands that. And even I know he's getting criticized too as far as the pro-life. Maybe he's not quite as pro-life as he is, but I'm sorry, just compare both sides and you will be with President Trump. You really will. That's our best chance to restore our country.
Back to the family thing real quick. I mean, even if you did come from a good family, because my dad didn't come from a good family. My dad came from a horrible family. My grandfather was a horrible human being. But he had the ability to create his own family and to have a good family. So that's what this country gives, opportunity of forward mobility. So you can come from nothing and can be something. I mean, that's what the beauty of this country is, and they're trying to destroy that. They're trying to get rid of that, and we can't let them do it.
And religion, I mean, I'm so glad we had that vigil. I
bet you did. I bet you are.
I think it helped. And here's the one thing too. I'm going to start this up with my cousin again, and just this is something for you guys to think about. But what we've kind of made a pact. This is my cousin in Colorado, and every morning at the same time, even if we can't talk to each other, we just text each other, and you pray. You say a special prayer. You can pray for President Trump, elections, the country, but just make sure there's something about, I think, the energy of doing that and remembering to do that. I mean, say your regular prayers and everything. I'm not saying to replace those with that, but
it's very powerful.
Power is extremely powerful.
Prayer is super powerful, and I've been getting into it more so lately too. And you learn about the science of it. It's very prevalent. You can see that focusing your energy is really good for the human body. It's good for decreasing violence in imperspective areas. And just think about George Washington. We talked about this in the past. I mean, that dude prayed 4 hours at a time, and he had bullet holes. And I looked up the story too. He did
story.
He did have bullet holes in his jacket and in his hat, and he didn't get scathed. And
he should have been killed.
He should have been killed. And the native tribe, one of the biggest native chiefs, actually wrote about him. He's like, this guy could not be killed. He was the warrior in battle that could not be killed, because he saw him go through battle, arrows and bullets, and he just came out unscathed. Like nothing he'd ever seen. He likened him to God protecting him. The native chief likened God to protecting him because he saw this guy. And it's very common for hardcore leaders to dodge bullets like that, just like Trump just did. It's very common. There is other stuff going on besides what we can perceive with our eyes and our ears right now, guys. And that's prayer. Prayer has a lot to do with that.
absolutely. And if you're a non-believer, I mean, when you see things like that happen, I still have been watching that video. You watch it over, and then there's different things like now. Okay, here's the bullet
hard to
grazed
believe.
here and did all that, and now with all there's going to be even more coming out.
It's hard to believe.
I think, and so any predictions? How is this going to change the going forward the Trump campaign?
Well, one thing I know, because I do have a pretty good following on my Facebook, a little over 4,000 followers, and there's been two things that I've always posted in my stories that I got the most reactions off of. And I like to gauge human nature off of it and kind of the pulse of the society. The two things are girls in bathing suits always gets the most hits. Always. It hits hard. Girls in bathing suits always hits hard. That's just what it is, guys, straight up. And Trump. Trump was always close in the second. Trump just passed the girls in the bathing suits by like double. So I've got,
that right?
Yeah, I'm getting 15% feedback relative to my following on my stories, which is huge. You usually get like 3 or 4%. I'm getting 15% feedback, 600 views plus, 700 views plus, and it's all Trump.
Your own little polling data.
Yeah, it's all on Trump. It's all love for Trump, and I think that what that shows us is that it's activating and invigorating and emboldening a lot of the conservative people. And that to me, that signals that they're going to come out and vote. The Republicans are going to come out and vote. That's what it tells me. You guys can interpret the data however you want, but that's what I see.
Well, and I will say, so, I told you I was watching C-SPAN, and then they have these lines after the moderator's there. The moderator doesn't do any analysis or comment, but you call in, they got the Republican, Independent, and the Democrat line. And those are very interesting calls to listen to. And there was even a Democrat that called in, and it's making them think. And that's all you can really ask someone. Because it's very hard to change somebody's mind.
Yeah, that's super hard.
It's very difficult. But when you present what happened, I mean, I would love to talk to someone who is a hardcore supporter of the left, and then see what Trump is going through and watch his campaign and watching the convention.
It made them worse. I think. I think they got more visceral. They got more foaming in the mouth. That's what some of the haters on Facebook got real nasty. Recently, they've gotten super nasty.
Well, to be bold and just like Jack Black and
yeah,
say
Jack
stuff
Black
like
throwing
that.
out there doing that stuff, and there's some people in the local community. You know who you are. Been hitting me up on Facebook. Just like obviously they wanted Trump to get shot in the head, and they're not gonna change the way they think. They want to vote for Biden.
And the thing is too, I mean, that you think it's a tragedy for our nation that this happened, but had he died or any assassination, it's awful. You're too young, but I remember I was really small when JFK was shot and killed, and then RFK, his brother. And the whole nation, the energy, it was amazing. And of course, JFK was very beloved in the Latino community. Democrat. Today he would be a Republican, very
Super.
Catholic.
He'd be more far right than freaking Trump.
Oh yeah, and people didn't like him because they thought, oh, he's Catholic, the Pope's going to run the nation and everything. But just the energy, you don't want that for your country. You don't want that for anybody.
No, you don't want that. And it's just, unfortunately, that's like what I was saying earlier, there's just a lot more evil in this world than people know. And you're going to find out the hard way, guys, unfortunately. If you're not praying, you're not getting close to God, and you don't have a good circle. Thank God, I'm very grateful. I pray for that all the time, that I have an amazing circle of friends right now. Then you're going to be in a lot of trouble. You're going to be in a lot of trouble. I pray for your soul, because for me, without God, I don't even know where the hell I'd be right now.
That is for certain. Now, we're down to our last 10 minutes, did we miss any other funky conspiracy theories or anything that is out there? More? Joey, Haley, did we miss anything?
Anything crazy? I can't think of anything else crazy.
Probably as we were even doing
they're trying
the show.
to kill him now. They're gonna be trying to kill him more. That's the only move they got. So expect more assassination attempts.
What would you do differently if you were Trump? I mean, we talked about this. Do you think he's got like some of his own security team?
He better
out there?
now. I don't know why he did it in the first place. I mean, for
or
me,
maybe he couldn't. I don't know.
I would want a badass SWAT team on my team all the time. I want my sniper. I want my fire crew, my fire team. I want my point man. I want the whole thing. And I've thought about that because I do want to run for office again. It's like, man, I got to start getting close to all my veteran buddies.
I have an idea too. So, his hat. I don't know if the hat interfered with the trajectory of the bullet, but I think he should make hats out of Kevlar and sell them, or make one with like a bullet, the graphic of a bullet, and sell those for the campaign. Do that because, I'm sure he wears a Kevlar vest under his clothes. Someone was saying Okay, and correct me if I'm wrong on this, or you guys too, Joey and Haley. I read somewhere that actually there was a bullet that had hit his chest, but he wears a Kevlar vest. Had you guys heard anything like that?
Nah, I didn't hear about
And
that.
I didn't hear enough there's so many things that you hate sometimes to even talk about it, because how are you going to confirm all that? It's just, and I always say, well, someone just said that. The guy though that they recorded, and I think the BBC had him on before we did, or Australia TV had on before the United States did. And he was saying, I was right there, and I was trying to do this, and inform those guys that somebody was on the roof. That breaks my heart.
You should get a double. You need to get a body double.
Oh.
That's probably the best thing. I mean, Hillary Clinton's got several. Why can't you have one? Have you seen pictures of Hillary? There's like so many pictures. It's not Hillary, but they announce her as Hillary, and she kind of has her haircut, but it's not freaking Hillary, dude.
That's when she looks like, well, now too, and I've told you about our good friend Jeff Prather, who does podcasts, The Prather Point, and he worked Fast and Furious, but he's done all that undercover stuff and everything, and he says back in the old Mission Impossible days, they would have the mask, so from far away, you
That's
put
not
the
bad.
mask on,
Yeah.
but now they're so sophisticated.
Yeah, why not just get another double in there?
Could do that.
Well, I mean, real quick too, we'll end on this, but Trump's known they've been trying to kill his ass for a while. The way he eats would trip me out. I learned about this like a year ago.
He's got a horrible diet.
He's got he has his crew of like 4 or 5 people. Every day at lunch, he goes and has them go get food from the same restaurant from different parts of the town. And they have to be back within 1 hour on the dot. If they're not back exactly in an hour, they're not back in the room. And he picks at random one of the bags that these people got for him to eat for lunch.
He doesn't make them taste test them first? Okay, you try that. You delivered it. Try
That's
that
the body
first.
double. I was like, give it to the body double. Give it to him first. But that's how he's been eating for a while, so he doesn't get poisoned. And like, when you're at that level, they're trying to take you out.
There's so many things, and you have to think too, because he's really not a politician at heart. He's a businessman. He's all about business and getting things done and being successful. Wow, but I think I'm so glad that people are praying for him.
Praying, fasting. Fasting's huge. Prayer,
do
fasting.
that again, like you said. Shout out to Bill Bierman for having the vigil. Two, if you're watching this, we upload it the next day. But kind of, if you live in the Las Cruces area, we'll keep you posted. But there's talk of maybe doing another. I don't know if another vigil, but doing some more prayer things.
I say we do another event, but we all wear Kevlar helmets just for symbolic reasons. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
We should do another event. We should do another Trump event. I mean, I couldn't go because I got sick, but I'm down to do another one. If they want to do another one.
Maybe you could make signs like this, and they could have a.
Let us know, guys. You guys want to chip in? You guys want to do another Trump event? Let us know. We'll put a little community together, and we'll get something going before the election. We have those resources, and we would like your input and support.
Yeah, and please participate. Again, we always like to make a plug for if you're not able to run for office, volunteer on a campaign or write a few bucks. If you can, maybe you're so busy. I know life is so busy, and we're trying to make a living in this Biden economy. Write a little check. $5-10 can do something to a campaign. Just do something.
Shut off the
Talk
Netflix
to your
and
neighbor.
get off your ass and do something.
Talk
Straight
to your
up.
neighbor.
This is the time right now.
And what do you want to do? Pass on this show. Take the link to our show. Pass
Subscribe
it
to
on.
our YouTube. We cracked 100. Yay!
Yippee.
Cracked 100. So keep subbing. Check out our Rumble.
We're going for 100,000.
They probably will end up coming after the show eventually, but oh well.
It's a digital badge of honor.
Yeah.
It's okay.
We kind of want to get banned.
How many? Don't we have a couple strikes left, guys? Or what do you think?
I think we've only had one strike so
have
far.
one strike left?
Yeah.
So what do they do after third strike? Are you off totally on YouTube or something?
Well, the way
Does that
they do it is like they did Andrew Tate. They just did Trump. Is they try to they try to come out. They try to cancel you, and then they come after you legally, and then when that fails, they kill your ass. So we still got 3 strikes left. We're still good for a little bit.
We're still good for just a little bit. Okay, so remember, Wednesday you're going to be on KTEL with Peter Goodman.
Tomorrow morning I'll be on KTEL 101.5 at 9:30 a.m. Talk to Peter Goodman and crew about how we can work together, even though they're blue and I'm red or whatever, to fix our damn community because the violence around here is getting crazy.
It is getting bad. Every day you hear more and more events. Is it Las Cruces Community Watch where they always post things?
Breaking windows all the time, violence, druggies everywhere. Fentanyl's crazy. It's all open border. It's all because of the damn border.
Have you heard too, and we could talk about this next show, but in fact Jeff Prather on his show was talking about they're putting something else in the fentanyl or some not benzene, but it's like something with a Z at the end.
Benzodiazepine?
It's something else. I thought it ended in "ene," but I could be wrong. Man,
That's like a good combination.
that's a good combination.
1,000 times stronger than fentanyl.
Jeez.
Dang.
Man, I was in Albuquerque last week and I saw this guy. He had just took a hit or something, but he was at the bus stop and he slumped over right in the middle of traffic. Like he would have fell in the traffic.
In
We're like,
Albuquerque?
yeah, I was like, damn.
That's fentanyl. That's the nod off that they
Yeah,
talk about. That's
dude.
when you know they're on fentanyl.
He could have gnawed off into traffic. I was like, what is going on with this guy? Freaking
Oh,
scary.
my.
Like he was on the bus stop curb and he was nodding off. Like we
Standing
almost
up.
hit his
Yeah,
ass.
standing up.
Did somebody
Wow.
save him? Or?
We didn't know it was like on Central. You know, it's like too
Well, that's
busy.
the main-
you can't,
main drag,
yeah, you can't
right?
stop. Like it's like you had to keep going.
Wow.
I was just like, said prayer for this dude. I'm not even Catholic, but I'll freaking throw it out there for that guy. But anyway,
Absolutely do
thank
it.
you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, Amazing Alice. Thank you, Awesome Haley, and thank you,
Thank
Joey
you,
Cypher
Chipsters.
at Roy Mountain Studios. You guys are freaking incredible.
Can you have time for a quick prayer or two? To take us
Flowers of the desert, always yes, and a quick prayer. Lord, thank you so much for letting us come here on this show today to spread the word, for providing us this amazing studio to bring people together, Lord, because that's what we need now more than ever, is to come together as human beings to fix our communities, to fix our country, and have a future for humanity. And we can't do it without you, Lord. And again, we're just so grateful that you brought us here together, and we hope that you give us the strength and the wisdom to continue to fight for you and to come together and to bring people together, Lord. Thank you. Amen.
Amen. Thank you for that. Always a great job.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you guys very much.
Muchas gracias,
Check us out.
Chipsters.
Check us out. Subscribe to the show on Rumble, on YouTube. Check out the show tomorrow on KTEL 101.5. Love you guys very, very much. Trump 2024, baby.
See you next week.